Dr. Harry Edwards joins me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Do you also understand that there could be, and I'm just throwing this out there, that a football reason as to why he has not been signed? At least that's some people saying that in terms of the amount of money he's asking for and his demand about wanting to start or anything. So you're unfamiliar with any of his stances on that front?
No, I'm very familiar with him. But what you're arguing in when you put that out there is that there are 64 starters and backups who are on rosters who are better than Kaepernick, not to speak of 32 clipboard holders who are better than Kaepernick, and no one can find any logical or rational football basis to bring him into camp at least to compete. I don't buy that. That is not only irrational; it's the height of sophistry. The veracity of that kind of statement is laughable. So you simply can't argue that.
Dr. Harry Edwards, Professor Emeritus of UC Berkeley, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So why do you think that there is no, if you want to put a fine point on it, courage of conviction by one NFL team right now?
Well, I think that people are looking to see how circumstances evolve. I think that they are concerned. As somebody said, the reaction could run anything from a letter from Donald Trump to some gaggle of fans who have access to a crayon who can write nasty letters and death threats and everything, and teams are reluctant to deal with that. Along with the fact that you also have to deal with cap issues. There are a lot of issues that roll into it. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that you have an athlete out there who has taken his team to a Super Bowl, who has taken his team to 2 conference championships, who had an extraordinary record of success prior to an injury, who is now over that injury, back up to playing speed, and as Pete Carroll said after working him out at Seattle, this guy is a starter, and nobody can find room for him in camp, even to come in and compete for a job. No, I don't care what the explanation is. That is one that nobody can rationally explain or excuse.
What would you say to somebody, Dr. Edwards, who's hearing you right now, maybe even for the first time, sitting there saying, yes, but he took a knee on the American flag in front of God and country. Yes, he also put on socks, practiced in socks that had a police officer's hat on top of a pig, and that is something that they cannot get past. What do you say to somebody like that, Dr. Edwards?
Well, they can get past murder. They can get past vehicular manslaughter. They can get past drug abuse. They can get past somebody hitting a woman hard enough that he could have possibly killed her. They can get past domestic violence. They can get past all of that. They can get past even some owners who have been accused of rape. They can get past all of that. Then don't tell me anything about some pig socks, which even Colin said that was a mistake. After I talked to him about that, he said, hey, that was a mistake. And that is something that does not move the conversation forward. But as far as him taking a knee, hey, look, I've lectured at every major institution in this country for all practical purposes, 1,300 lectures over the last 50 years. I went to West Point and lectured, and I'm standing there as they're playing the national anthem with these young people who know when they come out of there, they're not going to a major corporation or to the NFL or on to some Ivy League school and get a PhD. They're probably going to go to Afghanistan. They're going to go to Iraq. And they're standing there, and they're playing the national anthem, and it brought tears to my eyes. They know when this country called, they didn't ask about the politics of the war, or how we're going to pay for it, or is there an exit strategy, or who's the president. They stepped forward voluntarily and said, send me. You have to honor that. But there's a backside to that, and it's in the very first line of our United States Constitution. It says, we the people, in order to in order to form a more perfect union. It doesn't say we the people with the exception of athletes. It doesn't say we the people when everybody is comfortable with the statement that we make. And as Colin looked around and saw these summary executions, saw the injustice, saw the incarceration rates, saw the lack of resources and so forth in this community, what he essentially said is that we're better than this. And when you won't listen to that kind of a statement, I would have been gratified if the man who went into that softball game practice yesterday and started shooting people, if he had waited until the game started and they played the national anthem and he went out and took a knee and said, I just want to remind you of what you're really here in Washington, D.C. for, I would have been gratified at that instead of doing what he did. This is what Cap was trying to do. This is the message that he's trying to send. He's saying that burden falls on we the people, not we the presidents or we the courts or we the Congress or we the mayors or governors. The Constitution in the very first line says we the people. And that's critical. Mm-hmm. That's important.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you liked some of that, get some more of that on the Rich Eisen Show app. Follow all the information you see right here on the Rich Eisen Show.